Is 6:30, March 28th, 2023. I'm calling the Planning Board to order. If we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, a roll call, please.
Donald Alderman,
I'm here.
Brad Riddle,
Here.
Tim Bolliger,
Here.
and Hector Tapanis.
All right, if I can get a motion for the previous meeting's minutes.
I make a motion that we accept the previous meeting minutes from last month.
Second.
If I can get all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Carries 4-0. All righty. The first item up is to swear in the new planning board member. We need to have a motion that we postpone that because he's not able to make it today, that we postpone it to the next meeting.
I'll make a motion, we postpone the swearing in of the new member.
And I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. That motion passes 4-0. Okay. The next item up is the Palms Medical Site Plan, SIP 23-000002. Okay. What do you have to say on that? We got a representative for that?
Yes, we do have the engineer here if you would like to talk to him about anything specific,
Right.
but basically it's Palms Medical. They are redoing all of the paving for the parking and all that, and they are doing internal work to the building, but, you know, site plan, we don't really look
Right.
at that kind of thing. That's building department. But, yeah, and there's going to be a little overhang at the front where they drop people off, but, yeah, staff is recommending approval because they do meet all needed criteria from the code.
Okay.
Chair
What are the-
Alderman, I was doing some research on site plan approval
Right.
and related approvals, and the tenor of the article was that it meets the requisites of quasi judicial hearing. So if you don't mind, if I can swear the witness in, and
Go right ahead.
do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? If you'll state your name and where you work and your credentials for us, please.
Sure. My name is Mitchell Mason with CHW. Address is 11801 Research Drive in Alachua, Florida, here on behalf of the applicant. And I'm the engineer of record on the project. So as Christy was saying, it's the old Fellowship Church on 441 being repurposed into a medical clinic and office for the Palms Medical Group. And all the required parking that comes with that, drop-off loop for patients in the front, a driveway for ambulances on the southeast corner, as well as some drive-through pneumatic tubes for medication delivery, things of that nature. And then just standard stormwater requirements that come with that, dry retention basins and stormwater pipe and the like for the rest of the site.
Okay.
The entrances off 441 aren't being modified in any way. We are expanding the driveway that goes through the site to be able to accommodate two-way traffic on that road, but the rest of it should be left as is.
Okay. What do they call the thing that goes over the, I've been drawing a blank on that, for the cars to drive around, they don't get, not a dormer. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. Thank you.
portico, portico.
That's just been driving me crazy since I read it, and I said, what is that? But, okay. It's Franche.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions, guys?
That Oak neighborhood on the.
Mike.
Is the Oak neighborhood on the east side of this? What's on the east side of this property? That's what I was trying to look up.
I can confirm it for you. Give me just one moment. I'll pull up the map. Sorry, I have my microphone on. I will confirm. 1 second. So you went on the east side?
Yes.
All right.
I think there's
Or the south side.
there's a business right there, and then I think it's the neighborhood, isn't it?
Because the only concern I got, I know the front retention pond, I know it's way under in the 100-year flood, but if it was to topple, it's going out to state ditch.
So
I
it
just
does
want
not
to see what we back
directly.
up to on the east or the south side, because if that one topples, it's going to the next property.
So they
there's houses
do not
there, we're
sit
gonna
next
flood
to Oak Ridge. They actually have two different parcels between them on the east side. Looks like a vacant residential and then a tree, so the SAS
Okay,
tree service,
okay,
they're
yeah.
in between them.
I
And then
just-
to the south, we've got vacant vacant, unincorporated.
Okay.
So, yeah, a lot of vacant.
Yeah, that's my only concern on that back retention pond. If it was to be over capacity,
Right.
according to the elevations on here, that water's gonna go to the adjacent property.
Oh, the one on the south?
Yeah, the southeast corner.
Yeah, that is correct.
The,
And-
the one along 441, that's going to DOT.
Correct, yeah.
I'm sure that can handle it.
Yeah,
I just don't want to see houses built there and then we flood the houses.
right. And the south one, you're absolutely right. That is a depressional area in that spot where the water's going today.
Yeah.
So that is where we had to pop off, just,
I mean, it looks
Provide
like
that
we
natural
still got a foot and a half of clearance from the 100-year flood, but it
Yes,
seems
sir.
like every year we're getting a 100-year flood now.
yes, sir. And that's actually the 100-year, 10-day event that we run for Suwannee. So
Okay.
a little bit more volume than we run for FEMA.
Okay.
Although you guys may be aware there's some changes to those FEMA
Yeah.
maps that they're working on. And
Yeah.
we've got our own opinions on that for sure.
So the parcel that is on the southeastern side that you're talking about, it's a lot lower. It looks like that's owned by CSX, so it's part of the abandoned railroad.
Okay. That makes me feel better. That's all I got.
Questions? No? Any questions from the public on this? Nope. All right, then I need a motion to accept or deny.
I'll make a motion, we pass SIP 23-000002.
I second.
Okay, any more discussion on this from anyone? All right, I'll need a roll call vote.
Donald Alderman,
Yes.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Tim Bolliger,
Yes.
Hector Tapanis.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, I'll need a motion to close the planning board.
I make a motion that we close the planning board for this evening.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Planning board's done, okay. All right, I'm calling to order at, looks like 6, let me go by my phone. 6:38. At
38.
6, March 28th, 2023, 6:38 PM, the historic board to order. We've already done the amenities for the other things, so the first item up for unfinished business is the Z 23-000015 Certificate of Appropriateness, Mr. Joe Scott Spence. Before we travel on with this, I just want to make it known that I have had extensive interactions with Mr. Scott. Nothing that I believe will change my mind in any way, shape, or form, but I just wanted to disclose that. Also that another member and I, Brad Riddle and I, went down there to do some photographs and measuring based on the DOT requirements of how much, there's what they call a triangle that has to be observed, and we did some pictures on that just for verification so that he's not, how should I put, held to standard that's not there. So if anybody's got any questions on that, I'm willing to answer that.
What how did it measure out?
Well, I guess we'll discuss that
Okay.
when we get started on that, so. Okay, if you guys like to come up.
Raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
This has been sworn.
Okay. You've been through a lot, and we've done a lot of research, and she spent hours on this, and I don't know if you've seen this picture of what we took. Did you get a copy? Have you seen the,
Yeah, I got it.
there's a big one here, have you seen it better?
This.
Okay. From where I'm standing there, in a direct line to the camera, you can't have a fence or anything higher than 3.5 foot or above or below 6 foot, which basically covers half your yard. And that's out of our hands, that's the DOT. They informed us this is what's the requirement that they have. In fact, your tree that was there that you paid a lot of money to remove would have been, if it was enforced, to be removed because it was in that area. I don't like how this is working out, but we're kind of hamstrung with what we can do there. You can't have any type of opaque fence or a fence that causes by angle any type of blockage that would prevent that view. So at this point, I can't vote for a fence beyond that, and I don't think you want a 6-foot fence halfway down and then something else. So, do you have?
Is that the same with a chain link?
Now, you can do a chain link, but then I think now we fall into the historic guidelines. Christie did very extensive. Did you find any 6-foot chain link fences?
Not in front yards, no.
Yeah, and that's-
So I can go over that real quick. So
And I want you to know, I was at the commission meeting the other day, and I brought you up, not by name, you and another person that has complained about the invasion in their yard by people. That this ordinance they were trying to change, I said that would just lead to bigger problems. So I do understand your dilemma. I understand your situation. But we are, number one, held by the DOT standards, and number two, the historic standards, which is, I don't think we can get, I can't vote for a 6-foot fence. Now, I know it's expensive, but I can vote for a wrought iron because it's very minimal use. And and I did do a little research on that. There are companies that make wrought iron fences out of different materials that are about half the cost. So I can try to get that information to you if you want to still continue that route.
Wrought iron at 6 foot?
That we have to discuss. If that's your plan from here, we can discuss that route. I mean,
They make wrought iron, and typically with the historic ones, it'd be a solid. And what I've dug up from the foundation around here, it was actually a twisted wrought iron.
right, I know what you're talking about.
And it was solid. It might have even been coated with copper or something like, anyway. But now they make it out of a square tubing.
Right.
It's hollow. It still looks the same. It has a small point on it. And if that's the route, if I could get approved for that, and would it be appropriate to put it along the sidewalk line there? That's where my property line is, right against the sidewalk with that. I mean, if it's more investment, I don't mind investing. I've already poured my life into this house as it is, and to restore it and to make it as nice looking. And I think that, if that's the only way to get around it, then I'd be willing to take on the extra expense for that.
Christie?
I want you to keep in mind, there's a place called Gainesville Iron Works
Okay.
that I work with in particular,
Okay.
that I know they can build you a fence that looks wrought iron but isn't, for less money than what a wrought iron fence would cost.
And Lowe's, I believe even they sell ones of what I'm talking about there. It's just, but it would be black. I mean, would
Well, let me ask Christie, do we have to go off his initial, or can we amend this? If he wants to agree to a wrought iron, we can run that through his.
you could do approval with conditions that it be changed to those
Okay.
materials.
So we could complete this tonight if we agree on something like that.
Correct.
Okay.
if we can agree on a 6-foot wrought iron, I can agree on that too. And I don't mind taking on the extra expense.
Right.
Let me ask you this question, why 6 foot?
Security.
Keep people from, jumping over, or?
Yes, I mean, like I said, this is about 4 foot, and 6 foot would come just above my head. That's my children like to ride their bicycle around, and when I had even the 4 foot, I would let them ride it around the house there, and it's a safety concern. Not only, I'm not so much worried about them getting into the highway, I'm worried about the people on the sidewalk coming in. I have old sash windows. I have a lot of just vulnerability without having that there, so I need that extra sense of security around the entire property. The whole back is all 10-foot fence, and so it's fully private and everything like that. But I do want to show off the house, show off the yard, and then even if I landscape and stuff like that, I want to be able to preserve that without people coming in and.
Well, then any wrought iron look would be beneficial, because it actually lets you a visual.
And I think that was, because I've talked to a lot of people around here, around town, that had said that it did have some sort of wrought iron originally, years ago. So I think that would be the most close to what would be original.
And wrought iron is harder to climb than chain link,
No, of course.
so, and you're gonna have the little spikes on top, I would
Yeah,
assume. if you
what they
yeah.
typically do is they'll take the wrought iron and they'll smash the top down
Yeah, it's-
and put a little
Right.
spike on top of it. They
And
do
I got no
square
problem
tubing.
personally with black for that.
So two things. I still don't see how we can go against DOT standards because it's still gonna be over 3.5 foot. Even though it's wrought iron, it's still part of the vision triangle.
When I,
It's gonna be a lot more.
when I talked to Jack, I think it was his name at DOT, he said it's like looking through a screen porch. If you see it through at an angle, it's fine, but when you get close to it, he says usually wrought irons are fine because as you get close enough to where it starts to block, you're past the point you can see.
Okay.
He says it's
I
what
just
they
don't
have
wanna
trouble
get
with.
us into a
Right.
liability issue.
He said if you got the small pipes going up, it's okay, but if they go wider, that's where the problem, like a
They're
privacy
typically-
fence or something.
They're typically spaced about
Yeah.
something like this
Yeah.
right here.
So what kind of post are they gonna be able
Well,
to use?
that was, yeah.
Usually, I think on wrought iron, they usually use either like 2-inch posts or something like that at 10-foot intervals.
3.5 usually,
Yeah.
that's what
I don't see a
There'd be
problem with
like 8 foot with 2 foot in the ground with the concrete, and so only 6 foot sticks up above the ground when you do something like that. I've done a lot of other fences. Wrought iron's one I haven't really done a whole lot with, but I can make it all straight, even, level, nice, and level across the top and make it look nice.
And like I said, the gentleman I talked to was supposed to refer me, have someone call me who never called me, and he called me back and asked. And I said, well, I haven't heard anything. I said, can I run some of these by you? And he basically said that he didn't see there would be a problem with it, but he was still gonna, hopefully the guy would call me, and of course he never has, so.
Right. Well, the
I
only-
mean, DOT's so busy.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, you saw what I sent out with that, that's in black and white. You know, not a phone call.
Right.
Not saying.
Oh, no, I
nothing.
agree.
And then the second thing is I rode a good portion of the historic district and I never found nothing over a 4-foot fence.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to break up was in my research that I did on existing fences, there are no instances of 6 foot in the front. All of the decorative metal, wrought iron, that kind of thing, they're all 4 foot or under. So staff would still take the stance of no 6 foot. I mean, if it's going to be wrought iron, it needs to be lower. Would be our stance, but
Right.
that would just be our recommendation.
There's a picture of the building right next to me, the waterworks, and it appears to be a 6 foot picket.
Pick it, yeah.
That's the new restaurant.
No,
no,
that's
that's
the
next to it.
waterworks building it's next to the restaurant there.
The old
Okay.
It's
water
somewhat-
plant.
We're
Somewhat-
around the water tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, this side.
it's-
Yeah.
Well, you
Across
know,
from the
unfortunately, I
dive
don't
shop.
consider that a historic house.
Well,
That's a water tower and a yard.
yeah.
Well,
Right
I think,
now.
I think the building that's this way is
Right,
the
yeah.
historic, that's actually, and I
Yeah.
think you guys are looking at, someone's looking at the city doing something
Redoing
with
it, but as far as I know, we don't have a fence up in the front there
Not now.
anymore.
These are
Historic,
historic. these are
that's-
historic-
Right, yeah.
Historic
Yeah,
photos, right.
I went and got one of those books, so,
I
it's
mean,
really
the-
cool.
The town historically had more fences than it does now,
Right.
like those historic.
Well, yeah, I
fences.
mean, you got fences rot, you know, and people tear them down, they don't put them back up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, originally, this historic house did have a fence. And
I'm doing everything I can to comply.
And I know,
I've
yeah.
worked- I've worked really hard on this, I've invested a lot into it, and I'm willing to invest more into it, primarily for security reasons. And there's a pool hall that's gonna have alcohol. They're gonna have who knows what right next door to me, whatever kind of people, whatever state of mind they may be in. There's a genuine security concern. And 4 foot, 3 foot, that just won't do. That's a waste of my time, money, and everything to do anything like that. And 6 is a standard height for when you purchase this kind of materials and stuff. They don't make them, they make them 6, maybe 8, something like that, but 6 is a standard.
Well, plus the height of the building offsets what would be, I mean, if it was a standard height home, a 6-foot fence would look imposing, but I think in this case, it may not, and we just approved a 5-foot fence over 27.
But
But
that wasn't
in
their
the
front, that was their
on
That
the
was
side.
side,
yard.
but it's on 20.
Side
Yeah, so
yard, it
their-
doesn't, I
their-
don't care
their
how
front
big they
was
go.
4.
Yeah,
They
that's
did
true.
4 on their front.
Yeah, and the nursery across the street's got a 4-foot fence.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, discussion? If you go a straight line, that's where that comes in at.
Oh, yeah, I mean, glad that's gone.
Yeah, he spent thousands and thousands of dollars removing all that stuff. And he's gonna have the stump removed too eventually.
My,
They've been working on the stump right now, so.
my only comment is if we allow this 6-foot fence to go in, and it is wrought iron, I would like to say yes, but I'm still concerned what DOT has to say, and I don't want to be responsible making a decision at this point in time saying yes if DOT has a problem with it. I don't feel like I can override DOT.
Yeah, and I haven't got anything in writing. It's
And-
all over the phone.
And what Don said earlier, I'm still a little bit concerned about that. I don't want to be held liable for saying yes and then somebody were to get killed because they couldn't see. As you know, I haven't had any interactions with you. You've seen me over there. I've been over there multiple times, and taking the tree down I know was a great expense and it helped a lot. But even as I pull up there, which this is not your problem, I still have problems with the utility pole there. Because when you look at where the crosswalk is,
The real problem
And then-
is where the road, when you're coming in and it curves like that, and when you come around that building, and then people are coming out of town and they gun it.
Right.
And that's not a visibility issue, that's a speed problem.
Right.
If people were going 30 miles an hour like they're supposed to, instead of getting it up to 50, like what happens quite often,
Right.
that's the real problem.
And even with that triangle,
and-
the road tapers away, so it creates a deeper blind spot, even with that triangle.
And that brown building next door that they're opening the pool hall is the real blockage of being able to
And that's
see.
true. The brown building is a solid wall right on the sidewalk.
So having a wrought iron would be, you'd be able to really see through it,
So the DOT verbally has told you that it's okay? as long
Not
as
the
it's-
director, it was just whoever was trying to connect me to the director. Like I said, they are literally, from lack of a better word, it seems like they just dropped the ball. I talked to the guy, so I'll have him call you. Don't hear, thankfully, he called me back, because I didn't, who am I waiting for? And I said, well, he goes, he hasn't called, I'll see what I can do. And I said, well, let me ask you these questions, because we were coming up on this meeting. And he said, as long as it's not a opaque fence, a solid fence, he said, this should be fine, as long as you can see through it. He said, once you hit the point that it's fully opaque, if you're past the point where you're past the line and you're out in the road or toward the road where you can see, then it should be fine. But he said, as far as that goes, he can't, it's not his choice, but he said he believes that that's okay. And I'd be willing to vote yes on that right now, if that, on his word, but that's just me.
if we had it in writing and DOT said it was okay, I can assure you I'll vote yes on it. But tonight, and I hate putting this off, I don't know how the other board members are going to vote, I can't do it.
Well, his fence
Can
actually,
you tell me who your contact is with DOT so I can ask them?
I can't, but Don can.
I'll see if I get the information. I'll see if I can get that information from you. I just strictly called the number for DOT. There was no particular person. And and he said he just had me call, and then he called me back, and like an idiot, I just didn't get the name because I thought it was settled at that point. But I'll call the number and see if I can track down who it was originally. And if I can, maybe I'll call him again and say, hey, try to get someone to call me.
And if we could ask for like the name and an email address, that way we
Okay.
can get a
I'll, s-
writing.
I'll get on it as soon as I can.
What does
I
it,
appreciate it. I know you-
what does it say in our historic board ordinance for fences in the front?
So we have under section 3.02.08.02, it does talk about height and that it's visually or historically compatible with, the nearby buildings. So when we look at that, staff does think that the proposed height of 6 foot is not visually or historically compatible with everything that exists in the district, based on the research we did at your guys's, you directed staff to go get some more info, and based on that, we don't find it to be a fit, seeing as we found no other 6 foot fences of any type of material in the district.
I would rather go
I'm
back
sorry,
to-
who is we?
City staff,
Who's the city staff?
me, the city manager, that's basically all we have at our disposal
You
is us
and the
two.
city manager?
Huh?
You and the city manager?
Yes, me and Ashley Stothatos.
I would rather go by historically accurate than just what the other historic houses, because there again, the other historic houses, that doesn't mean what they historically had, that just means in their current state. You know, historically, there again, this did historically have a wrought iron fence in front of it.
And this is a one-of-a-kind house. I mean, you don't find a colonial-style Victorian anywhere else that I know of, and it's one of the largest square-foot houses in the historic district that I know of. So it's completely unique in and of itself. The carpenter's lace, every bit of it's unique as is.
I mean, if you want cookie cutter, we don't go to the historic district.
And one other thing that I have seen in the, past, and it goes back to this, is unfortunately, when that fence came down, and it's been down so long, it's just like when you do a lot of new things, you're going back with new, so you gotta meet the guidelines now, not what was there.
It came down 2 months ago, and then I was.
Well, the white picket fence came down 2 months ago. The wrought iron fence hasn't been there in years.
Right.
And we don't have
And
confirmation
we
on
don't
what
have
size it was.
confirmation of that, so with nothing there and us going back, you gotta treat it as something new, and it's gotta meet the new standards of today, of what's in the historic ordinance.
All right, I'll continue to try to find out who it is. If you have still some contacts down there, or?
I can work my way around there. I mean, what I sent was out of the DOT standards,
Right.
and that's what the
And
whole
and the
state
gentleman
goes
did
by.
tell me that's exactly what they
Yeah.
run off of.
Yeah, and that's probably gonna be what we get, is go by the standards.
And won't tell us
And
what
it's in
comes out.
black and white.
City staff can also reach out. I think I might have a contact for DOT as well, so I'll
Yeah.
see if I can get something in writing.
If we can, if, like I said, I'll be honest with you, I'd vote for a 6-foot fence. I think it would look fine with a tall building there. I don't know if we get motions on it, I can't make a motion. But I think it would look fine considering the height of the building. But if we're still restricted by the DOT giving, it sounds okay to me, that's where my problem lies at this point. If we can get them to say, fine, that sounds good, it'll work, here's a copy, we'll send this to you, you can do it, then I'll be honest with you, if it came before me, I'd vote yes on it right now. I think it would look fine with it, because it's a 2-story building. If it was a single story, I wouldn't do it.
Even
But-
just the, like, floor to ceiling is 10 foot in that
Right.
house. It's just plain very.
I don't think it would take away, especially with the one big building there with a big wall, and then if you just that personally, I think would look fine. And even if it is, the rest of the historic district doesn't have it, there's nothing else in the historic district like that either. So,
And Scott might be able to, we'll see what we can get from them, but the standards are gonna probably be protect them, and
yeah.
I'm sure, Mr. Walker will weigh in that that's probably theirs for the laws that we're gonna have to follow.
Well, you're spot on, and there's a couple of things that come to mind. If you wanted to do this, you could you could approve it subject to a contingency. So if you said in a motion that, well, there's a couple of points that I make. First of all, in the pictures that Christie's provided us, in the Wagner property, I'll just say this as an observation. On the Wagner property, they have some sort of almost some sort of a wall with a fence on top of that.
So a knee wall with
A knee wall, that's the way to look at it. So I have no idea if that would be something that would be appropriate architecturally in this district or not, but it's something that is, and then the other thing that you said is that it can't be opaque, the knee wall has to be so low that it cannot.
Below 3.5 foot.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's with the fence on top of it is the way it's structured, at least in this district that.
And a chain link fence is actually more opaque than a wrought iron, yeah.
If you wanted to approve the wrought iron fence tonight, subject to DOT approval in writing that it is permitted, that's something that you could do as well, but it'd have to be that contingency that we see it in writing with the approval, and otherwise it comes back to you all again. So those are a couple of options at least that I would suggest might be out there, if you wanted to do that. If you want to have it come back to you, then just table it to a date certain in the future.
Right, thank you.
Sure.
Well, those are our options, guys. We can make it contingent on approval in writing, or we can say, not historically, and that they don't, we can't approve it because of historical, but that's where we're at this point.
My recommendation would be to table it tonight, and if Mr. Scott could bring us, in the meantime, when we get word back from DOT, and if they approve it, that maybe you can show us exact, or pretty close to what that fence is gonna look like.
Okay.
You know, you may be able to get a picture of some of that,
material.
the material, yeah. And maybe we can resolve it at the next meeting, all at the same time.
I sure hate tabling again. I feel so bad.
I know, I do too. But I think y'all.
Have we ever tabled anything before here? I think this is the only thing we've really tabled. isn't it?
We have.
Yeah?
But
Okay.
I think, or I hope you can understand my position on it, and I think some of the other members of the board. I just want to make sure it's okay with DOT. We can't override DOT.
Well, it's not that, but we gotta watch the liability of other families and kids and other people in cars, you know, pulling out.
And I understand totally why you want to put the fence in.
I appreciate that.
So, and maybe more so now than ever.
Yeah, there are some unusual characters, to say the least, and with the pool hall going next door, I mean, that's a concern.
Did the city expand the liquor?
You should have been at the meeting.
Wish you had been.
I wish y'all had have been.
No,
What
they
what
didn't.
was that about?
Not
They were
yet.
trying to
Not yet.
expand alcohol even.
We don't need to get into that here
Yeah, that's-
tonight.
But yeah, it's held off for a while. So, I just want to also put forward the work that this person has done. I probably saw her more in the past month than I've seen her previously, and she was always, every time I came in, she had it up on her computer screen. She worked tirelessly on this, and I'll tell you, I would have burned out long before. We went over it 3 or 4 times, and
And I ended up buying 2 books after we left your place one time, and I already have a
This
book.
here?
yeah.
Yeah, but I've got a book that you may not have, that Christie and staff, and it has lots and lots of pictures in it.
It's really cool, yes.
And you
Jim
can-
Douglas has them if anybody. Jim Douglas,
The one I got.
$20 a book.
Yeah, but the one I've got, Jim Douglas doesn't have. They have it over at the museum.
Okay, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to.
And I
look at
tried
that.
to go get it and was gonna buy one for Christie, but I can't catch them open. And it was cheap. It was only $6.50, I think.
Well, now that they're not giving us water, maybe they should get us books.
Yeah, well.
I'll see what I can do with both.
Anyway, I hope you understand where I'm coming from, sitting on this board.
Were you able to contact the director of the museum about that, the train stuff?
I wasn't able to get with them.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, if you have trouble, let me know. I'll get you in touch with them for that, so. I guess I need a motion. Go
One
ahead.
more thing I would say. I know you're set on the 6 foot. The city is really having a problem with the 6 foot. If there was a medium in there, would you be all right with that?
I can't do that. It's a waste of time and money, and to be honest with you, security.
I mean, we're talking about not much difference.
I don't want to compromise on it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It's just, I feel that security-wise, I mean, that goes, you know, it's taller than me. It would be 6 foot. And for someone to try to get over it, you know, to try to climb over it, I want, and it's the standard height of the material. Why would I take a 6 foot fence and cut it, you know, take a metal saw and cut it off at 5 foot if I did wrought iron? It doesn't, it's a whole waste of a lot of material even to begin with, even if you just look at it from a financial standpoint.
No? I need a motion to do something.
I motion that we table Z 23000015, fence, Joe Scott.
All right, you have to put a date.
Um,
Let's see.
today's
When's the
the
next
20
meeting?
The next meeting should fall on April 25th unless we change the date, but
Right.
would they be safe in saying to the plan board meeting scheduled for April, like April's plan board meeting, or do we have to specifically say the day?
I would schedule it to the day.
Okay, so we'll just assume that we don't move the date and we'll say the 25th.
Okay, so go ahead.
Until April 25th
Meeting. Okay.
meeting.
Any discussion on this?
I need a second.
Well, go ahead, say.
I will second it.
Any discussion at this point?
None from me.
I need a vote.
Oh, sorry, roll call. I was thinking, sorry. Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Tim Bolliger,
Yes.
Hector Tapanis,
Yes.
Donald Alderman.
Yes.
Motion passed 4-0.
I apologize for the delay. We just have to make sure everything's in a row so that you don't have to rip it all out and we don't get fined for it. So I hope you know we've tried to put the work in for it. So,
Appreciate that.
and we'll
so
continue.
Are you one of you going to be the ones that's going to contact DOT, or is that gonna be?
We're gonna, as a group, I think there's several of us that can do it, and I will be in
I'll
touch with you
also be.
again.
The
And
city
she-
staff will.
So there'll be at least 3 of us that are gonna try that, and as soon as we got him out, we'll stay in touch, I'll stay in touch with you as well.
Okay.
So you won't just all of a sudden, hey, the meeting's tomorrow, come on in. You'll know ahead of time.
Okay, and I'll try to get a picture not only of the fence, because they may come in 4-foot sections. I'm not sure what size the wrought iron comes in, but, and then the posts as well, all the materials.
I
everything-
appreciate it.
Everything that goes into it, I'll try to get that.
That's something I would like to see.
Yeah,
Okay,
and,
yeah.
and we'll, again, we'll table it, but we'll get there.
There's a cheap Lowe's way to go, but then if there's something that looks nicer somewhere else, then I might go with that, even if it costs. Cost is not the biggest issue per se, it's just security is the main thing. Okay, Gainesville Iron Works, I'll check. That sounds familiar. You know where that's at?
I think if I'm not wrong, it's off of 39th Avenue towards the southeast side.
Okay, all right. I'll check into that then. And I really appreciate all your time and everything
And
like that.
thank you for bearing with us.
Thank you too, I appreciate it.
I think the historic district is harder than planning district, to be honest with you. Really, it seems like your hands are tied much more. Okay, I guess that, we got, what's up next? The
Certificate of appropriateness carport.
the carport. No wonder I can't get my wrong glasses on. All right. Okay, new business, Z 23-000023, certificate of appropriateness, the carport at James Rigney. Got
Yes.
something for us on that?
Yep, so this is a freestanding carport. It is located at a site that is historic. It is not attaching to the building, it is not harming the building. It will be behind it, and it will be created to look like a pergola, so it will look nicer than your standard carport. So on this one, they're meeting the criteria from what we can see, and though the site plan that you were given isn't quite to scale because they ran out of room on the paper, the numbers are accurate. So staff would recommend approval on this one because it's not hurting anything in the district. It's not even going to be visible except for in the back, and is not harming the structure. So recommend an approval.
One question, Christie. That one photograph of that pergola, that's real similar to what it's going to look like?
Yes, so that's as close as they could find that would look to what they're trying to do. So
Okay.
it'll have that same general architecture. They'll still have to get their building permits, still have engineering, all that good stuff, but that was the closest they could find that fit the look of what they're doing.
Okay.
Are they gonna keep most of that foliage around there and everything that you
As
know of?
far as I know, they're not taking anything out, but I can definitely confirm with them.
Okay. Anybody here on the public to speak on this? No? Okay. I need a motion.
I make a motion that we accept Z 23-000023, certificate of appropriateness for the carport for James Rigney.
Second.
Roll call.
Donald Alderman,
Yes.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Tim Bolliger.
Yes.
And Hector Tapanes.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, I need a motion to close the meeting.
I need to bring up, I
Oh,
want to
go
bring
ahead.
up something.
Yeah, go ahead. New business?
Yeah, new business. I haven't been by there, and I probably should have looked before. Last time I went by Choppers, they never put landscaping around the new shed.
Oh.
It was after the shed went in, but I haven't, and it's my fault, because I ain't looked in the last couple weeks.
Definitely.
So, I know we approved it for that.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, they were supposed to cover it up.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has noticed.
I didn't even look.
I
haven't
drove
been
by
by
it to
there.
go see the mural and never even looked at it, to be honest with you. But when I did look at the building that after it was up, there was no landscaping.
All right, we'll send city staff, I will get
Okay.
Alan or code enforcement to go get them.
Okay.
What's the word on the roofing fence and the camping ground in town? Have you heard anything more on that?
Oh, the 2 items that we sent over to Penny, so. He did issue a notice of violation to the people that have all the buses that people are living out of, so I believe that one's
saw
going
it
to the
this weekend.
magistrate. I would need to confirm with their post, it's posted downstairs in the little box for violation.
Right out here.
It's over by
By
the gas
catty
station.
corner.
It's behind that one historic looking building that's kind of fallen in.
Yeah.
So yes, he issued the violation there, and then I'll need to double check with him on the fence, because I don't think I've seen anything on the fence issued yet.
Which
But,
fence?
there was a
residential
fence
home.
put up in a historic district,
And it's basically 4x4 post with
metal.
silver sheet metal roof.
It's quite
that's
large,
Screwed to it up high about.
Okay.
but it's on the
While
side,
we're
and it's
talking
very
about the
large.
fence, can we get staff to get with the school? Is the orange safety fence that has rotted away out there along that back road going into Bailey
Going into Bailey, okay.
with the metal T-posts right along the edge of the right-of-way are good spears for people now to run into. And the
So
fence
orange
is-
safety fence
It's
by
falling
Bailey.
down. The school, I guess the school board put it up, to keep people from parking there,
Okay.
which, how they put it on the right-of-way without
Yeah,
city
I don't
permission,
know.
I have
That
no
was
idea.
never right.
No.
They should have,
I mean, they
they
didn't
should
even
have
leave
put
a
no
shoulder.
parking signs and just spaced them so where cars can't pull in. But what they've done with that little cheesy orange tape and the pole sticking out of the ground,
Okay.
that doesn't make any sense.
Well, we can get code enforcement out there for that one too. And then I'll have them check on whether it's in a right of way and whether it
Well,
needs.
it's right up to the edge of
Yeah, if it
pavement.
needs somebody else to look at it, we'll get Ashley involved.
It's right up
and
to the edge of pavement. It's been like
Probably
that for a
Public
year.
Works too.
Here you go. 3 pictures. Swipe that way.
We didn't approve that.
Nope. Wow.
No, the fence that he's showing you went up without a permit, which is why we're trying to, we sent
it's
it to
over
code
6 foot.
enforcement, so he'll issue either a violation or
That's a
if he
historic
talks to them
board
and has them
district.
come
Historic
in.
district, yeah. And it, at a certain time of day, it reflects.
Shines.
It does reflect right down, like, whoa, that's how I noticed.
I mean, I like.
But see,
I
it's
like
over
the-
6 foot, but it's the side and the back.
Right. But,
And
I
was
mean,
done
but
without
it's
a
the
permit.
materials, right?
Yes. It's the materials.
So, I think they took what was left over from the roof and put it up.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I just had them check into that, but
Yep,
Yeah, I
I'll
saw
get
them
you an
buses.
update with Penny, but I do know he issued the other violation for the,
good, yeah.
Last
The
weekend, I
convoy.
meant to ask about that. I don't know what we had going on there.
Anything else that needs to be brought up? Oh, okay, and you guys will get with us in for the next meeting, maybe to move the day if you guys want to do that.
yeah, I just need to confirm when we're available.
You all want to do Mondays? Did I understand that's what you? would
Yeah,
like to move
Ashley
it
had
to?
wanted to move it to a Monday, but I know you all every other Monday have Newberry, so I wanted to make sure we would have our attorney, so.
The third Monday would be the Monday that looks like it's good on our calendars, Christie, if that's.
Okay.
If that's
I
a
should be
time
fine
that
with
works for you all.
You're gonna
You
have to
have to come
move
in
your
at dark.
fishing day. Okay, so I'll see if Ashley is okay with third Monday. And
I'm
then,
good with
Let
that.
me check.
And
that.
I'm good with that. I'm wide open on
Okay.
Mondays.
and so I guess it wouldn't be able to be in effect for the next month because we've already scheduled our, we've set
Yes.
the date, but
Now,
it
if there's a
would
good
be
Monday night
for-
football game, I'll have to miss it.
It
so.
would be for
be
May,
out
so
before then.
tentatively May will switch to third Mondays, but let me confirm with the boss and I'll send you an
Is that
update
Memorial
email.
Day?
Is it?
Not if it's Bridlewood. If we have a Bridlewood thing here, that's gonna go well past Monday Night Football.
Well, if it ever falls on a holiday, we'll just shift it a day or something.
Yeah.
I'll coordinate
Yeah,
with you.
that-
We'll,
and
we'll
that's
make sure it
fine.
happens.
I'm just messing with
We
you.
have the new guy. Worst case scenario, we all just don't come.
Yeah, he can come by himself, right?
That's how you get
No, the
elected
third would be
chair.
the Monday before, so that would be fine.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how I got elected to chair, is I missed a meeting. And I come back and they go, by the way, you're now the chair. And I go, don't I have to accept it? And they go, please accept it. So. Now,
I've missed plenty of meetings and nobody's ever given me the chair.
that's what we should have
Hey,
done, guys.
you better watch what
We
you
messed
wish
up.
for.
No, we need water.
We need water.
I'll get you
bottled
guys
water.
fancy cups.
Okay. Anything else while we're
No,
up here?
I'm good.
No? I need a motion to close the meeting.
I make a motion to close the meeting, historic board meeting.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, this meeting